Everything is finished. Everything is finished, cried Vijay Joshi in despair. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, Vijay, a high school teacher at the government high school Gujarat, was a man filled with dreams. A person who had worked his way up the ladder. He always dreamt of building a beautiful home of his own. His family comprised of his beautiful wife Anita and their 3-year-old son Sumukh, who was the world to him. 10 years of hard work had blossomed into a beautiful home. Vijay happily named it Shantiniketan, the abode of peace. That fateful day, why did it ever happen? He cursed. Why? It was the 26th of January 2001, and as Vijay stood in attention saluting the Indian national flag on the 51st Republic Day of India, the earth below rumbled. Even before he could realize, he saw the little children running helter-skelter, many who ran into the school compound, only to find the building collapse like a pack of cards. Their very source of protection had become their last resting place. Stuck by a window pane, Vijay collapsed, and there came another building crashing down on him. For 2 long days, Vijay remained beneath the rubble, unnoticed, unmoved. I think he's dead, declared a volunteer who noticed his body beneath the rubble. No, he's alive, I can feel his pulse, yelled another in joy. A solid 3 days later, Vijay found himself in a makeshift medical camp. Broken legs, a swollen eye, and bruised all over. His only thoughts were, my wife, my son, are they still alive? The nurse jolted him, take hold of your senses. Calm down. Clutching onto a stick, unmindful of the pain, Vijay shrugged her away to walk his way out of the medical camp. The world outside had changed forever. There wasn't a single building in sight. No shops, no roads. All that was seen were mounds of rubble. But far away, at a distance, he could see a tall and white building. His beautiful home, Shantiniketan. With joy in his heart, he limped his way through the rubble, shouting to his wife, Anita, Anita, where are you? Sumukh, our home is still there. He pushed open the door, and the door collapsed. All that remained of his house were only the 4 walls. He frantically searched to only find beautiful red sari he had gifted his wife on their last wedding anniversary. The sari was intact, but she had died. Sumukh lay beside his mother, clinging on to her. Everything is finished. Everything is finished. He cried in despair. But in a world filled with sorrow, there was no one to console him. Carrying his wife and child by his barren chest, he limped his way through the streets to lead them to the funeral ground. As he laid them to rest, all he had were tears to give him company. He spent that entire night in the midst of his broken house, cursing his fate. Why? Why me? To which he had but no answer. It was now the 5th day after the quake, and Vijay sat amidst that rubble, lost and dejected. when suddenly someone held him from behind. He turned around to see that it was a 3-year-old child. The child smiled. Her smile in times of adversity. "Mama, Mama," inquired the little boy. It just sounded like his son Sumuk. Vijay looked around to see whose child it was, but there wasn't a single soul in that vicinity. Holding the boy by his little fingers, Vijay walked through the streets of Bhuj to find many such deserted children. As he dropped the little boy at the camp for displaced children and decided to leave, the little finger clung on. He looked into the boy's eyes. He found in them a glimmer of hope. "Mat jao," muttered the little boy. Vijay just stood frozen, unable to fathom the magnitude of emotions. Was this God's way of paying me back? He thought. He looked around to find hundreds of deserted children, children who had none to look up to. He held this little boy by his chest, hugging him tight, and said, "I promise I'll never let you go. Never till my last breath," he said. That defining moment, Toastmasters, marked the beginning of a new journey. A man who had lost everything in his life took on the mantle of not only rebuilding his life, but rebuilding the lives of hundreds of such deserted children. Vijay quit his job as a school teacher and took on the mantle of training these little children to face the world. To them, he is their father, their mother, their mentor and guide. At the site where the house once stood is today a home for orphan children by the very name Shantiniketan, the abode of peace. An inscription on the wall of Shantiniketan reads, is a quote by Confucius that reads, "The greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." Toastmasters, adversity and challenges are the essence of life. The greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Mr. Toastmaster.